Maya wiped the sweat from her forehead as she carried a bucket of laundry into her small, cramped apartment. The sun was just beginning to dip below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow across the city. Her little boy Leo was playing quietly with his toy truck in the corner, making tiny rumbling sounds as he moved it across the floor. Maya glanced at him and smiled. His laughter and curiosity were the only things that made her long, tiring days bearable. Being a single mom was not easy. Every day was a struggle. Maya worked 2 jobs. She cleaned houses during the day and waited tables at night. Sometimes she wondered how she managed to keep going. Yet, when she looked at Leo's bright eyes, full of wonder and innocence, she knew she could not give up. He depended on her, and she would do anything to make sure he had a good life. On that evening, as Maya was folding clothes, the mail arrived. She opened the mailbox and found the usual bills, junk flyers, and a thin envelope with a strange seal. She frowned. It looked official. Carefully, she opened it and read the words that would change her life. Maya Reynolds. You are the sole heir to the property of your late great-aunt Helen Reynolds. Located in Willow Creek, the property includes a small farmhouse, farmland, and equipment necessary to run a working farm. Please contact our office to arrange the transfer of ownership. She had never met her great-aunt Helen. Her family had always been distant, and most relatives rarely kept in touch. The idea of inheriting a farm seemed unreal. She stared at the letter, trying to understand what it meant. A farm? A real farm with fields, animals, and a house? For a moment, she allowed herself to dream. Maybe this could be the fresh start she and Leo desperately needed. That night, Maya could hardly sleep. Her mind raced with questions. Where was Willow Creek? How old was the farmhouse? Could she really manage a farm by herself? But underneath all the uncertainty, a spark of hope grew inside her. She imagined Leo running freely through the fields, the 2 of them surrounded by green grass, fresh air, and space to play. The thought was comforting. By morning, Maya had made her decision. She would go to Willow Creek and see the farm for herself. She told Leo about it as they sat at the tiny kitchen table, eating toast. Leo, she said, trying to keep her voice steady with excitement, we are going on a little adventure. We are going to a farm that we own now. Leo's eyes widened. A farm? Really, Mommy? Yes, really, Maya said, smiling. And guess what? There might even be a real tractor there. You will love it. Leo jumped up, spilling his juice. A tractor? I want to see it. Can we ride it? Maya laughed. We will see, Leo. First, we need to get there. The next few days were a whirlwind. Maya quit one of her jobs and asked for a short leave from the other. She sold some furniture she no longer needed to cover travel expenses. Packing their belongings into a small car, she made sure Leo had his favorite toys and clothes. Finally, they started their journey to Willow Creek, a place neither of them had ever visited. The road stretched for hours, winding through towns, forests, and open fields. Leo pressed his face against the window, pointing at cows grazing in the distance and horses running across pastures. Mommy, look. Look at that one, he shouted, pointing at a black and white cow. Maya smiled, enjoying his excitement. She realized that this trip was already special, just because of Leo's wonder at the world. As they drove further, the air changed. The smell of the city disappeared, replaced by fresh grass and the faint scent of soil. Small houses and shops dotted the countryside, and the pace of life seemed slower. Maya felt her tension ease. It was as if the farm had already begun to work its magic on her. Finally, they reached the turnoff to the farm. Maya followed the dirt road as it led through tall trees and open fields. Then, in the distance, they saw a small farmhouse surrounded by wide green fields. Old wooden fences ran along the edges, and in the middle of the field, a rusty but sturdy tractor stood proudly, waiting. Leo jumped in his seat. Mommy, look, the tractor, he shouted again, his voice filled with pure joy. He could hardly contain himself as Maya parked the car near the farmhouse. The house was old but charming, with a front porch and windows that reflected the setting sun. Birds sang from the trees, and the wind gently swayed the branches. Maya stepped out of the car, holding Leo's hand. The ground beneath her shoes was soft and smelled of earth. She took a deep breath and felt a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in years. This place was different. It was alive. It was full of possibilities. They spent the evening exploring the property. The farmhouse had a cozy living room with a stone fireplace, a small kitchen with old cupboards, and several bedrooms upstairs. The fields were vast, stretching as far as the eye could see. There was a small barn, some sheds, and even a pond where frogs and birds made their home. Maya imagined all the things they could do here, planting vegetables, growing flowers, and maybe even raising chickens or cows. Leo ran through the fields, laughing and calling to Maya. "Mommy, come play! Look at this." He picked up a small wooden stick and pretended it was a sword, running around with the energy only a child could have. Maya watched him and felt a swell of happiness. This farm was more than just land and buildings. It was a chance for a new life, a place where she and Leo could grow together. As night fell, Maya lit the fireplace and made a simple dinner of bread and soup. They ate at the kitchen table, the warm glow from the fire filling the room. Leo chattered happily about the tractor, the pond, and all the animals he hoped to see. Maya listened, smiling quietly to herself. After dinner, Maya tucked Leo into the small bedroom upstairs. He hugged her tightly. "Mommy, thank you. I love this place already." "I love it too, Leo," she whispered, brushing his hair from his forehead. "We are going to make so many memories here." Maya stayed awake for a long time after Leo fell asleep. She sat by the window, looking out at the fields under the moonlight. The stars were bright, and the air was filled with the gentle sounds of crickets and rustling leaves. She thought about the life she had left behind in the city, the crowded streets, the endless noise, and the struggle to make ends meet. None of that mattered here. Here she had space, freedom, and a future she could shape. Her thoughts drifted to the letter again. The farm had belonged to her great aunt Helen, a woman she barely knew. Who had lived here before? What had happened to her? Maya felt a sense of curiosity mixed with responsibility. This was more than just inheritance. It was a legacy. She had a duty to care for the land, for the house, for the memories that were hidden in every corner. The next morning, Maya and Leo woke early. The sun rose slowly, painting the fields in shades of gold and green. Maya stepped outside, feeling the cool morning air on her face. Leo ran ahead, chasing butterflies and laughing. Maya felt a lightness in her heart she had never felt before. She walked toward the barn, thinking about the work ahead. There was so much to do: repairing fences, cleaning the barn, checking on the equipment, and preparing the soil for planting. Yet, for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel overwhelmed. She felt ready. She felt capable. Maya glanced at Leo as he climbed onto the tractor. "Be careful, Leo," she called, but he waved at her with a big grin. Seeing him happy and safe made her resolve stronger. She promised herself that she would do everything in her power to make this farm a home, a place where they could thrive as they explored more of the land. Maya noticed small details she hadn't expected: the old windmill at the edge of the pond, a row of fruit trees, and a small patch of wildflowers. Each detail made her imagine stories of the people who had lived here before. She imagined her great aunt Helen tending to the fields, caring for the animals, and watching the seasons change. Maya felt connected to her in a way she could not explain. That evening, Maya sat on the porch, sipping tea while Leo played with his truck in the yard. She watched the sunset, feeling a sense of hope and purpose. The farm was not just a place to live. It was a chance to start over. It was a chance to give Leo the life he deserved. And perhaps, along the way, she would discover more than just a farm. She would discover herself. Maya knew challenges awaited her. Running a farm was not easy, and she had much to learn. But for the first time in years, she felt something she had almost forgotten: excitement for the future. With Leo by her side, the two of them would face whatever came next. And as they watched the stars appear in the sky, Maya whispered a promise to herself: this farm would be their home, their sanctuary, and the beginning of a new adventure. The next morning, Maya woke to the sound of birds singing outside her bedroom window. The sunlight streamed in, painting the room with warm golden light. Leo was already awake, bouncing on his bed with excitement. "Mommy, wake up! I want to see the chickens," he shouted cheerfully. Maya rubbed her eyes, smiling. Even after a long day of travel and exploration, her son's energy never faded. She dressed quickly and joined him in the kitchen for a simple breakfast. They ate toast, eggs, and fresh milk that Maya had bought from a small shop on the way. Leo chattered about the tractor, the barn, and all the animals he hoped to see. Maya listened with amusement and warmth. His joy was contagious, and for a moment, she forgot all the worries about managing the farm. After breakfast, they decided to explore the farm more thoroughly. Maya walked through the fields, her boots sinking slightly into the soft soil. The land was vast, with rows of grass stretching toward the horizon. Air was fresh and clean, carrying the faint scent of earth and flowers. She felt a strange mix of excitement and responsibility. This land was now hers, and she knew she had to take care of it. Leo ran ahead, laughing as he chased a small rabbit that darted through the grass. "Mommy, look, he is so fast," Leo called, clapping his hands. Maya laughed softly and shook her head. She was happy to see him so free and happy. For the first time in a long while, she felt hope. Perhaps this farm could be the new beginning they both needed. They entered the barn together. It was old but sturdy, with wooden beams and a high ceiling. Sunlight streamed in through small windows, casting light on dusty shelves and farming tools. Maya noticed buckets, ropes, and old machinery scattered across the floor. She knew it would take time to clean and organize everything. She rolled up her sleeves, determined to start the work. Leo climbed onto a pile of hay, pretending to be a cowboy. "Mommy, I am the king of the farm," he exclaimed, laughing. Maya smiled and joined him, helping him balance on the hay. For a while they played, forgetting about chores. It was a small moment of joy, a reminder that life could be fun, even in the midst of work. After playing, Maya started inspecting the farmhouse more closely. She opened cupboards and cabinets, finding dishes, old linens, and some cooking utensils left behind by her great-aunt Helen. She discovered a small box tucked away in a corner. Curious, she opened it. Inside were letters, some yellowed with age, and photographs of her great-aunt with friends and family. Maya studied them, imagining the stories behind each picture. One photograph caught her attention. It showed her great-aunt, standing near a large tree in the field holding a letter and smiling. Behind her, a man in a suit was shaking hands with someone out of the frame. Maya felt a sudden sense of curiosity. Who was this man? Why did her great-aunt have letters about him? She carefully placed the photograph back in the box, thinking that she might need to explore these questions later. As the day continued, Maya began working on small tasks around the farm. She repaired a broken fence near the edge of the field, making sure the animals would be safe. She cleaned the barn, swept the floor, and organized the tools. It was hard work, but it felt meaningful. With every nail hammered and every piece of equipment cleaned, she felt more connected to the land. Leo helped in his own way. He carried small buckets of water, fed the chickens, and even helped gather eggs from the coop. Maya watched him, amazed at how quickly he adapted to farm life. His enthusiasm inspired her. She realized that even though she was new to farming, she could learn, step by step. They could make this place a home. While working near the barn, Maya noticed a small trapdoor partially hidden under a pile of hay. Curious, she lifted it and found a narrow staircase leading down into a dim basement. Her heart raced. What could be down there? She hesitated for a moment, thinking of the stories she had heard about old houses hiding secrets. But her curiosity won. She grabbed a flashlight and carefully descended the stairs. With Leo following closely behind, the basement was small, but surprisingly neat. Shelves lined the walls, filled with jars of preserves, old tools, and boxes of documents. Maya's eyes fell on a particular box that seemed more important than the others. It was locked, but the lock was old and rusty. With a little effort, she managed to open it. Inside were stacks of letters, receipts, and photographs. Maya realized that her great-aunt had kept records of important matters, possibly even legal or financial issues. One letter in particular drew Maya's attention. It was addressed to her gratante and mentioned a wealthy man who had been buying land nearby. The letter suggested that his deals were not entirely honest. Maya felt a shiver of curiosity and caution. Could this be the reason her gratante had kept these papers? She carefully placed the documents back in the box, deciding to read them more thoroughly later. As the day turned into evening, Maya and Leo took a break. They sat on the porch drinking water and watching the sunset. The sky was painted with shades of orange, pink, and purple. Leo rested his head on her shoulder. "Mommy, this is the best day ever," he said softly. Maya hugged him tightly, feeling a warmth in her heart. She realized that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The next few days were filled with learning and adjustment. Maya discovered that running a farm required careful planning and hard work. She studied the soil, prepared the fields for planting, and learned how to care for the chickens and other animals. She made notes about what needed repairs and what tools she would require. Each day, she felt more confident in her ability to manage the farm. Leo continued to explore and play, his laughter echoing across the fields. Sometimes he would bring Maya small treasures he found: shiny rocks, feathers, or wildflowers. He asked endless questions about the plants, animals, and machines. Maya answered as best as she could, admitting when she did not know something but promising they would learn together. She found joy in teaching him and learning alongside him. One afternoon, while cleaning out an old shed, Maya discovered a bundle of papers tied with a ribbon. She opened them carefully. The documents contained detailed information about the farm, including maps, equipment lists, and notes about the land. Among the papers, she found mentions of a large nearby company and a wealthy businessman named Mr. Harrison. The notes suggested that he had been trying to buy land in Willow Creek for years, sometimes using dishonest methods. Maya felt a mix of worry and determination. She knew that understanding these documents could be important, not only for her farm but for the town as well. That evening, Maya sat by the fireplace, reading through the letters and notes. Leo lay nearby, quietly drawing pictures of the farm. Maya realized that there was more to this inheritance than she had first thought. It was not just a piece of land. It was a connection to her family's history and perhaps a way to protect the community. The thought gave her strength. Over the next few weeks, Maya and Leo settled into a routine. The farm was still a lot of work, but they found joy in every small achievement. Crops were planted, fences repaired, and the barn cleaned. Neighbors stopped by occasionally, offering advice, tools, or a friendly smile. Maya began to feel a sense of belonging she had never felt in the city. Willow Creek was not just a place to live, it was becoming home. One morning, while tending to the vegetable patch, Maya noticed movement near the edge of the forest. She walked closer and saw a small fox cautiously watching her from behind a tree. She froze, not wanting to scare it away. Leo whispered, "Mommy, look, a fox." Maya nodded. The sight of the wild animal reminded her of the beauty and life surrounding them. She realized that this farm was not only a place to live, but also a place where nature and humans could coexist. As days passed, Maya became more comfortable managing the farm and understanding the land. She discovered hidden corners of the property, small streams, and even a tiny orchard that had been forgotten over time. Each discovery filled her with excitement and purpose. Leo explored alongside her, learning about the animals, the plants, and the machines. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. One afternoon, while organizing the attic, Maya found a small locked chest. It was old, with intricate carvings on its surface. She tried to open it but realized it would require a key. She placed it on a shelf, curious about what could be inside. She felt that the farm held many secrets, some waiting to be discovered, and some, perhaps best, left alone. Yet she could not shake the feeling that these secrets were connected to her great Aunt Helen and the letters she had found in the basement. Evenings were now their favorite time of the day. Maya and Leo would sit on the porch watching the sunset and listening to the sounds of the farm. The wind through the trees, the rustling of leaves, and the distant calls of animals created a peaceful melody. Maya often thought about how different life had become. The city, with its noise and stress, seemed like a distant memory. Here she had purpose, joy, and a growing sense of belonging. Maya knew that there were challenges ahead. The farm required constant care, and the documents she had discovered hinted at possible trouble with the nearby businessman. But for now, she focused on the present. She tended the land, cared for Leo, and allowed herself to dream. Dreams of a thriving farm, a happy child, and a safe, peaceful life filled her mind. The sun rose over Willow Creek, painting the fields in shades of gold and green. Maya woke early, as she usually did, feeling a quiet excitement in her chest. Life on the farm was settling into a rhythm, but a part of her could not stop thinking about the letters and documents she had found in the basement. They hinted at something important, something that involved the wealthy businessman, Mr. Harrison, who had been buying land in the area. Leo was already awake, running around the farmhouse in his pajamas. "Mommy, come quick! Look at the chickens," he called cheerfully. Maya smiled, rubbing her eyes. The joy in Leo's voice was contagious. She quickly dressed and joined him in the yard. The chickens clucked happily, scratching the ground for grains and seeds. Leo giggled as he tried to follow one of the hens. "Careful, Leo," Maya warned, smiling. "Don't scare them away." "I'm being careful, Mommy," he replied, his little face serious for a moment before bursting into laughter again. Maya shook her head and chuckled. Life with Leo was never dull. She felt a sense of peace watching him explore the farm freely. After breakfast, Maya decided it was time to take a closer look at the documents from the basement. She carried the box to the farmhouse table, Leo sitting beside her with his notebook and crayons. She carefully opened the bundle of papers and began reading through the letters and receipts again. The handwriting was old-fashioned, but she could make out the details. The letters suggested that Mr. Harrison had been attempting to acquire land in Willow Creek through unfair means. Some of the documents mentioned underhanded deals, threats to local farmers, and efforts to manipulate property records. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. If these documents were accurate, it meant that her great-aunt had been protecting the farm and possibly the town from dishonest practices. Leo watched her quietly. "Mommy, are you okay?" he asked softly. Maya looked at him and smiled reassuringly. "Yes, Leo, I'm okay. I just think we need to learn more about this. Maybe we can help keep the farm safe." Leo nodded, though he did not fully understand the situation. He returned to his drawings, leaving Maya to study the documents. She realized that she needed to organize the information carefully. She began sorting the papers by date and topic, making notes of any suspicious activity. The more she read, the more she realized that her great-aunt, Helen, had been keeping careful records to protect her property. The day passed quickly as Maya worked diligently. She felt a mix of curiosity and determination. The farm had always been a source of hope and joy for her and Leo, but now it also represented responsibility and courage. Maya understood that she might have to take action to protect not only her farm but also the other lands in the area. That evening, Maya decided to explore a small grove near the back of the property. She wanted to clear her mind and think. Leo ran ahead, chasing butterflies and picking wildflowers. The grove was peaceful, with tall trees casting long shadows and a small stream flowing gently through the center. Maya sat on a fallen log, listening to the sound of water and birds. She felt a sense of calm wash over her, but she also felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders as she rested. Maya noticed something partially hidden under a bush near the stream. Curious, she walked closer and found an old metal box, rusted but intact. Her heart raced. Could it be more documents? Evidence of something important? She carefully opened the box and was surprised to find photographs, letters, and receipts. Some of the photographs showed Mr. Harrison visiting local farms and speaking with other farmers. Other documents detailed land sales, contracts, and financial records that suggested illegal activities. Maya's mind spun with questions. She realized that this was more than just old papers. It was evidence. Evidence that could expose dishonest practices and protect her farm and others in the area. She felt both excitement and fear. If Mr. Harrison discovered that she had these documents, it could be dangerous. But at the same time, she knew that keeping the information hidden would allow wrongdoing to continue. Leo, noticing her serious expression, asked, "Mommy, what is it?" Maya knelt down and hugged him gently. "It's something important, Leo, something that can help people. But we need to be careful." The next morning, Maya began to make a plan. She wanted to ensure that the evidence reached the right people, the authorities who could investigate Mr. Harrison's activities. She also knew she needed to be discreet. She carefully copied the documents and photographs, making sure the originals were safely stored in the metal box over the next few days. Maya observed the area around the farm, paying attention to Mr. Harrison's activities. She noticed that his assistants occasionally visited local farms, trying to convince owners to sell their land. Some neighbors spoke of unfair offers and strange agreements. Maya realized that her grand-aunt had been protecting not only the farm, but also the town from Mr. Harrison's influence. One afternoon, while working in the barn, Maya found an old ledger hidden behind a shelf. The ledger contained detailed notes about land sales, dates, and amounts of money exchanged. Some entries suggested that Mr. Harrison had used false information to acquire properties. Maya felt a mix of anger and determination. She knew that exposing this information could make a real difference. She also began to notice that the farm itself held clues. There were hidden spaces, old letters tucked in drawers, and even a small compartment in the barn floor. It became clear that her great-aunt Helen had been very careful to protect her records and hide important evidence. Maya felt a deep respect for the woman she had never met, but whose courage and wisdom now guided her. Leo, curious as always, asked questions. "Mommy, why did Aunt Helen hide these things?" Maya smiled, brushing a strand of hair from his face. She wanted to protect the farm and the people who lived here. She knew some people might try to do bad things, so she kept the evidence safe. Leo nodded, his small face serious. "I want to help too." Maya hugged him tightly. "You already help by being brave and kind, Leo. That is very important." As days passed, Maya began to organize the evidence more carefully. She made lists, grouped photographs, and wrote notes about what each document revealed. It became clear that Mr. Harrison had been involved in multiple schemes to acquire land illegally, sometimes using threats or false contracts. Maya realized that this information could stop him from harming more farmers in Willow Creek. One morning, Maya decided to take a careful walk to the neighboring farms. She wanted to speak to other farmers discreetly, to learn more about Mr. Harrison's activities. Some neighbors were hesitant at first, but Maya's sincerity and concern earned their trust. They shared stories of unfair deals and mysterious visits. Maya listened carefully, taking mental notes and comparing them with the documents she had found by the end of the week. Maya had built a detailed picture of Mr. Harrison's actions. She knew that exposing the truth would not be easy. He was powerful and wealthy, and he had influence in the area. Yet she also knew that she had something he could not control: evidence. And with careful planning, she could ensure that justice was served. Leo continued to explore the farm, his laughter and curiosity bringing light to Maya's days. Together, they cared for the animals, tended the fields, and maintained the farmhouse. Yet Maya could not ignore the task that lay ahead. The documents and photographs she had discovered were more than a connection to her great-aunt's past. They were a responsibility she could not avoid. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Maya sat on the porch, going over the evidence once more. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, and Leo played nearby with a stick and a small wheelbarrow. Maya felt a sense of determination. She realized that she was not just a single mother, struggling to make ends meet. She was a guardian of the truth, a protector of the land, and a force that could bring justice to Willow Creek. Maya decided to take one more careful step. She would contact someone she could trust, an authority who could investigate Mr. Harrison without putting her or Leo at risk. She made a mental plan for how to present the evidence, how to stay safe, and how to ensure that the information would have an impact. That night, as she tucked Leo into bed, he looked up at her with bright eyes. "Mommy, are we going to make everything okay?" Maya smiled, brushing his hair back from his forehead. Yes, Leo, we are going to do our best. And together, we can help make Willow Creek a safe place for everyone. Leo hugged her tightly. I love you, Mommy. I love you too, Leo, Maya whispered. More than anything, Maya sat by the window after Leo fell asleep, thinking about the days ahead. The farm was quiet now, the only sounds being the rustling of leaves and the distant calls of animals. She felt a mix of anticipation and resolve. The evidence she had discovered was important, and it could change the future of the farm and the town. She knew that challenges lay ahead, but she also knew that she had the courage, determination, and love for her son to face them. Maya realized that her life had changed in ways she could never have imagined. The farm had given her hope, joy, and purpose. And now, with the evidence in her hands, it had given her a mission. A mission to protect the land, honor her great-aunt's legacy, and ensure that justice was served. The discovery of the documents and photographs was only the beginning. Maya knew that the next steps would be difficult, but she was ready. The morning sun rose slowly over Willow Creek, casting long shadows across the farm. Maya woke early, as always, feeling both excitement and tension. The documents she had discovered had given her a sense of purpose, but they also came with risks. Mr. Harrison, the wealthy businessman trying to acquire land in the area, was powerful and had influence. Maya knew that acting carelessly could put her and Leo in danger. Leo bounded into the kitchen, full of energy as he often did. Mommy, are we going to play with the tractor today? He asked eagerly. Maya smiled and ruffled his hair. We will, Leo, but first, we need to get some work done on the fields. She prepared a simple breakfast for both of them, thinking about the plan she had formed. She would need to contact someone trustworthy, someone who could investigate Mr. Harrison without putting the farm at risk. At the same time, she had to continue caring for the farm and keep Leo safe. The balance was delicate, but Maya felt determined. After breakfast, she and Leo went to the barn. Maya checked the equipment and organized the tools, while Leo played with a small wheelbarrow and pretended to dig the soil. Watching him reminded her why she was doing all of this. Protecting the farm was not just about the land, it was about giving Leo a safe and happy childhood as they worked. Maya noticed a car slowly driving down the dirt road near the edge of the property. She paused and observed carefully. The car stopped briefly near the neighboring farm, and a man in a suit stepped out. He looked around before driving away. Maya's heart skipped a beat. She recognized him from one of the photographs in the metal. Boxen assistant of Mr. Harrison. Maya realized that they were being watched. The evidence she had uncovered was valuable, and it seemed that Mr. Harrison's team had noticed activity in the area. She knew she needed to act carefully. She decided to speak to a few trusted neighbors discreetly. Learning more about Mr. Harrison's recent actions and his interest in local farms, one afternoon, Maya visited the nearest neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, a kind woman who had lived in Willow Creek for decades. Maya shared her concern without revealing all the details. Mrs. Thompson nodded knowingly. You are brave, Maya. Many of us have been cautious because Mr. Harrison is not a man to be crossed. But if you have proof of what he has been doing, it could make a difference. Maya felt a surge of determination. She had spent weeks gathering documents, photographs, and receipts. It was time to plan her next steps carefully. She returned to her farm, thinking about the safest way to approach the authorities without alerting Mr. Harrison or putting Leo in harm's way. That evening, Maya reviewed all the documents again. She laid them out on the kitchen table, organizing them by date, location, and type of information. There were letters showing unfair deals, receipts proving false transactions, and photographs showing suspicious meetings. Maya realized that presenting this evidence clearly would be crucial. The authorities needed to understand the scope of Mr. Harrison's actions to take meaningful action. Leo watched her quietly. Mommy, can I help? He asked softly. Maya smiled and held his small hands. You are helping just by being brave and caring for the farm, Leo. That is very important. The next morning, Maya decided to make contact with the local authorities. She prepared a careful letter explaining the situation, including the evidence she had gathered. She did not reveal her identity fully, knowing that Mr. Harrison might try to interfere. The letter included copies of key documents, photographs, and notes explaining what she had discovered. Maya felt a mix of fear and hope as she sent the letter to the appropriate office. Days passed. Maya focused on farm work to keep her mind occupied. She repaired fences, tended to the vegetable patch, and cared for the chickens. Leo helped enthusiastically, carrying small buckets of water and collecting eggs. Life on the farm continued, but Maya remained alert, aware that the arrival of authorities could trigger reactions from Mr. Harrison. One afternoon, a black car slowly approached the farm again. This time, Maya recognized it immediately. It was an official government vehicle. Two men stepped out, showing identification that confirmed they were investigators from the authority Maya had contacted. Maya felt a mix of relief and nervousness. She guided them to the farmhouse, explaining that she had important documents related to Mr. Harrison's activities. The investigators examined the evidence carefully. They asked Maya questions about the documents, the photographs, and her observations. Maya answered as clearly and honestly as she could, ensuring that every detail was accounted for. The investigators nodded, taking notes and photographing the evidence. Maya felt a sense of hope. Finally, the truth was being taken seriously. Meanwhile, Leo ran around the yard, fascinated by the presence of the new visitors. He pointed out the chickens, the tractor, and the small pond, chattering happily. Maya smiled at him, was grateful that he remained unaware of the seriousness of the situation. After several hours, the investigators left, promising to follow up and conduct further research. Maya felt both relief and tension. She knew that Mr. Harrison would soon learn about the investigation, and his response could be aggressive. She prepared herself for the possibility of confrontations. Determined to protect the farm and her son, the following days brought challenges. Mr. Harrison's assistants began appearing more frequently near the farms, asking questions and attempting to persuade owners to sell their land. Maya remained calm, careful not to reveal too much. She focused on tending the farm and preparing for any direct confrontation. One evening, Maya heard a knock at the farmhouse door. She opened it cautiously and found a well-dressed man standing outside. He introduced himself as Mr. Harrison's representative and attempted to negotiate the purchase of her farm. Maya listened politely but remained firm. "I am not interested in selling," she said clearly. "This farm is my home and my family's legacy. I will not be persuaded otherwise." The man frowned, trying to mask his frustration. "Think carefully, Ms. Reynolds. Mr. Harrison has influence, and resistance could be difficult." Maya stood tall, her voice steady. "I am aware of that. But I will not compromise my farm or my family. I suggest you leave now." The representative hesitated, then nodded. "Very well. But consider your position carefully." He left, driving away slowly. Maya closed the door and took a deep breath. She felt a mix of fear and pride. She had faced the first real confrontation and had not backed down. That night, Maya and Leo sat on the porch, watching the stars appear in the sky. Leo played quietly with a small wooden toy while Maya reflected on the events of the day. "Mommy, you were brave," Leo said softly. Maya hugged him tightly. "We have to be brave, Leo. Sometimes standing up for what is right takes courage." Over the next few weeks, Maya continued to gather information discreetly. She spoke to trusted neighbors, observed suspicious activities, and documented everything carefully. The authorities remained in contact, assuring her that the investigation was moving forward. One afternoon, Maya found additional letters hidden in the farmhouse. Tucked behind a loose brick in the fireplace, the letters provided more details about Mr. Harrison's actions and confirmed that he had been using dishonest tactics to acquire land. Maya carefully added the new information to her collection. Feeling more determined than ever to see justice served, Leo remained a source of joy and strength. His laughter, curiosity, and innocence reminded Maya of why she was fighting. She knew that protecting the farm and exposing Mr. Harrison's actions was not just about land. It was about ensuring a safe and happy future for her son and the community. One morning, Anne noticed a meeting taking place in the distance, near one of the neighboring farms. She observed quietly from behind a tree and saw Mr. Harrison himself speaking with several farmers. He appeared persuasive, using charm and influence to sway their decisions. Maya's heart raced. She knew that confronting him directly could be dangerous, but she also knew that the evidence she had was powerful. She decided to prepare for the next step. The authorities had promised to investigate, and she would continue to gather proof and document activities. At the same time, she remained vigilant, ensuring that Leo was safe and that the farm was protected. The days became a delicate balance of farm work, observation, and careful planning. Maya repaired fences, tended crops, and cared for animals, while keeping an eye on the movements around her property. She discovered hidden corners of the farm, small compartments, and secret letters that her great-aunt had left behind. Each discovery added to her understanding and strengthened her resolve. One evening, as Maya and Leo watched the sunset, she felt a sense of hope. The farm had become more than just a home. It was a symbol of resilience and courage. They had faced challenges, but together they were stronger. Maya knew that confronting Mr. Harrison and protecting the farm would require patience, determination, and careful planning. As darkness fell, Maya tucked Leo into bed. "Mommy, are we going to be safe?" he asked, his voice tinged with worry. Maya kissed his forehead. "Yes, Leo, we are safe. And we are doing the right thing. Sometimes standing up for what is right can be hard, but it is worth it." Maya sat by the window, looking out at the quiet farm. The wind rustled through the trees, and the stars twinkled above. She felt a deep sense of responsibility and determination. The morning sun rose gently over Willow Creek, casting a soft glow across the farm. Maya awoke early, as she always did, her mind alert with anticipation. The farm had become their sanctuary, but the documents and evidence she had discovered were now in the hands of the authorities. She knew that the next days could be challenging, yet she felt ready. She had prepared, observed, and gathered everything carefully. Now it was time for justice to take its course. Leo was already awake, bouncing on his bed with excitement. "Mommy, can we check the tractor today?" he asked, his small face bright with curiosity. Maya laughed and ruffled his hair. "Yes, Leo, but first, we need to finish our morning chores." They started their day as usual, tending to the animals and working in the vegetable fields. Maya felt a sense of pride as she watched Leo help with the small tasks. He carried buckets of water, gathered eggs from the coop, and carefully fed the chickens. Even though he was young, he understood the importance of responsibility, and Maya felt grateful for his willingness to help. After finishing their chores, Maya went to the farmhouse with the evidence she had carefully organized. She had received word from the authorities that they would be conducting interviews and gathering additional information from local farmers. Maya knew that this step was crucial. Mr. Harrison was powerful. The truth was now stronger than his influence. That afternoon, Maya noticed a car driving slowly down the dirt road near the farm. She felt her heart race. It was Mr. Harrison's assistant again. This time, the man stopped at the edge of her property, pretending to inspect the nearby fields. Maya stayed calm, observing him quietly. She knew that any confrontation had to be cautious. She would not give him a reason to interfere with the investigation. The following days were filled with preparation and patience. Maya continued to document everything, spoke discreetly with neighbors, assisted the authorities in organizing their findings. Leo explored the farm with joy, discovering hidden corners, small streams, and even a tiny orchard that had been neglected over time. Each discovery reminded Maya of the beauty and potential of the land they were protecting. One morning, Maya received a call from the authorities. They informed her that they had collected enough evidence to formally investigate Mr. Harrison's activities. Maya felt a surge of relief and pride. The hard work, careful observation, and courage she had shown were paying off. Now, it was time for the next step, ensuring that justice was served. That afternoon, the authorities arrived at the farm to speak with Maya and gather additional information. They reviewed the documents, photographs, and letters she had collected. Maya explained everything clearly and calmly, providing context for each piece of evidence. The investigators took careful notes, promising to take immediate action against any illegal activities they discovered. As the authorities left, Maya felt a sense of hope and determination. She knew that Mr. Harrison would likely resist, but the truth was on her side. The documents she had found, combined with the accounts of local farmers, created a strong case. Maya realized that courage, patience, and careful planning had brought them to this moment. Leo, curious as always, watched the visitors leave. "Mommy, are we going to be okay now?" he asked, his small voice filled with concern. Maya hugged him tightly. "Yes, Leo, we are going to be okay. And soon everything will be right." The next few days were filled with anticipation. Maya continued to care for the farm, tending the fields and animals while keeping a careful watch for any suspicious activity. She noticed that Mr. Harrison's team had become less frequent, likely aware that an investigation was underway. This gave her a sense of reassurance. One morning, Maya discovered another small hidden compartment in the barn floor. Inside were additional letters and photographs, confirming Mr. Harrison's attempts to manipulate land sales. Maya carefully added these to the evidence collection, knowing that every detail could strengthen the case. She felt proud of the thorough work she had done and grateful for the guidance her great-aunt Helen had unknowingly provided through her careful records. As the week progressed, the authorities began taking action. Notices were sent, interviews conducted, and official statements gathered. Maya watched quietly from the farmhouse porch as the town slowly became aware of the investigation. The news spread that someone had uncovered evidence of dishonest practices, and the community responded with support and relief. Farmers who had been pressured by Mr. Harrison now felt that justice might be possible. One afternoon, Maya received a call from the local news office. They had heard about the investigation and wanted to report on the story, focusing on the courage of a single mother protecting her farm and the community. Maya agreed, knowing that public awareness could help ensure fairness and transparency. She and Leo prepared for the interview, explaining their experiences on the farm, the discovery of the evidence, and the importance of protecting the land. Leo spoke with confidence and joy, sharing stories of the animals, the tractor, and the fun of working on the farm. Maya added context, explaining how careful observation and courage had helped uncover the truth. The interview was broadcast to the community, inspiring others to stand up for what was right and appreciate the importance of honesty and integrity in protecting their homes. Meanwhile, the authorities continued to gather evidence and build their case. Maya remained vigilant, aware that Mr. Harrison might try to resist or intimidate people involved in the investigation. She focused on maintaining the farm and keeping Leo safe, ensuring that their daily life remained as normal as possible. One morning, while checking the vegetable fields, Maya noticed a group of farmers approaching. They were smiling and carrying baskets of produce. "Maya, we wanted to thank you," one of them said warmly. "Your courage has helped protect all of us. We are proud of what you have done." Maya felt her eyes fill with tears of gratitude. "I could not have done it without the support of everyone here. We are all part of this community, and together we can protect our homes and land." Leo ran ahead, carrying a small basket of flowers he had picked from the edge of the field. "Look, Mommy, I made a gift for you," he said, holding out the flowers with a proud smile. Maya hugged him, feeling a deep sense of love and pride as the investigation progressed. Maya continued to manage the farm with confidence. The animals thrived, the crops grew, and the farmhouse became a true home. She discovered hidden treasures in the barn and attic, letters and photographs that connected her to her great-aunt, Helen, and the history of the farm. Each discovery strengthened her connection to the land and inspired her to work even harder. One afternoon, the authorities informed Maya that they had collected sufficient evidence to take legal action against Mr. Harrison. He would face investigation and accountability for his attempts to acquire land unfairly. Maya felt a wave of relief and pride. The farm and the community were protected, and the truth had prevailed. Leo ran around the yard, laughing and playing. "Mommy, the farm is safe. he shouted happily. Maya smiled and joined him, enjoying the freedom and joy of the moment. They played together near the tractor, exploring the fields and discovering new corners of the farm. Evenings on the farm became a time of reflection and gratitude. Maya would sit on the porch watching the sunset with Leo by her side. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, and the wind carried the gentle sounds of animals and rustling leaves. Maya felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had protected the farm, honored her great-aunt's legacy, and ensured a safe future for Leo. The days passed with a comforting rhythm. Maya tended the animals, worked the fields, and maintained the farmhouse. Leo explored, played, and learned about the farm and the land. Their bond grew stronger each day, strengthened by shared experiences, challenges, and triumphs. One morning, while exploring the edge of the property, Maya discovered a small patch of wildflowers that had been overlooked. She carefully tended the area, planting additional seeds and creating a colorful corner near the pond. Leo helped enthusiastically, watering the flowers and arranging small rocks around the edges. The farm was becoming more beautiful, live with growth and life. The community began to visit the farm more frequently, offering friendship and support. Neighbors stopped by to share stories, exchange produce, and celebrate the protection of their land. Maya felt a sense of belonging she had never experienced in the city. Willow Creek was not just a place to live. It was home, filled with kindness, support, and shared purpose. One afternoon, Maya received a letter from the authorities confirming that Mr. Harrison's illegal activities were under investigation and that legal measures were being taken to prevent further attempts to acquire land unfairly. Maya felt a deep sense of relief. The farm was safe, the community protected, and justice was being served. She shared the news with Leo, who jumped up and down with excitement. "Mommy, we did it. The farm is really safe now." "Yes," Leo, Maya said, smiling and hugging him tightly. "We did it together. And now we can enjoy our home and our life here." As the days passed, Maya continued to care for the farm and explore its hidden treasures. She discovered letters, photographs, and small compartments that revealed more about her great-aunt Helen's life and wisdom.